Welcome back to Extreme Voltage. My name is Decron Melkonian, and we are talking everything LA Chargers. Hey, it's early August, specifically August 5th here, 2024. We're in the middle of training camp. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on, how your Chargers are faring, injury updates, and today we're going to discuss the upcoming defense for our 2024 Chargers, break down our defensive squad and see how they look as we get ready for the 53-man roster. We're going to go through defense this time. In a few days, we'll discuss the offensive side of it as well, just to give you a breakdown on what's happening, of course, our special teams as well. But we're going to start off with training camp news. And as you've been hearing, the injury bug has hit a little bit. Justin Herbert suffering a plantar fascia injury. Looks like a 2-week recovery time, or at least keeping him at bay in a walking boot. And they're hoping for and anticipating an August, of game 1, week 1 against the Raiders comeback. So look, the more and more we hear about it, it's more, I believe, just maintenance in regards to making sure there's not going to be any type of major issue happening in that foot. I think if he was about to play this next week, they'll get him ready, right? But I think it's literally before preseason, it's training camp time, and it's a really good time to keep this guy up active because you got to get that timing, right? You got to get that the receivers in the room, the rookies, the free agents that came in, Josh Palmer, Deshaun Shark. You've got so many guys, Quentin Johnston. So many guys now that are in the mix in this offense that are new, and this is the time to get Herbert, get that formula working for them. And so it is a negative, obviously, to miss this much time. And look, is that going to be? We got to look at it. Is this going to be an issue throughout the season? It could. Right, it could. The more, and they're not talking too much about it, but just to hear what they're saying, it's a strain. Right, it's not a torn or anything else, right? Plantar fascia. It's going to be painful and could be problematic. So, you would think they're going to get him booted up and ready to go with a special type of footwear to relieve that tension. But is that something we're going to take a look at? Absolutely. That's something you have to worry about, right? That's another factor there. So we're hoping everything goes well with that, and we'll keep an eye on it. But as of now, it's Easton Stick, it's Max Duggan, and that's what we're going to go with. So I'll give you my brief intake as well. I had a chance to go to Charger camp last Wednesday. Interesting. It was a pretty good day to watch these guys offensively speaking. Herbert, that was actually last day of Herbert in the field before I guess he got injured that day. So we'll break that down a little bit and then tell you what I saw and what we're reflecting on. But otherwise, in regards to team chemistry and team building, look, it looks good. The Chargers just had a Sunday scrimmage yesterday on the 4th against the Rams, and the defense, just looking at the videos, reading about it a little bit and getting more segments on it, defense looked good. I think they had seven turnovers, a lot of pass rush pressure coming at them, a lot of batted balls, it seems like, and a lot of good tip drill issues, a lot of interceptions. Our corners look good, linebackers look good, especially the front three, I'm going to say, because of the fact of our edge rushers we're just all over the place on it. So a lot of good pressure against that Matt Stafford-led LA Rams team. I think they had some injuries on the offensive line. Talking about the Rams, I think our offensive line also was not fully squatted up yesterday as well. So there's some issues on that end. However, you always want to see a good defensive effort, especially the last 4 years of having this awful hole on defense where we cannot stop the run and everybody can pass through us. So this is a good sign, really good sign that we're coming together and aggressive. And look, I think as long as these defenders are playing free, they're playing quick. And you read about this all the time. You see this. The more complex your defense is, your guys are going to think too much, right? Especially on a first-year defensive system, right? You don't want to have your guys thinking. You want to have these guys playing, right? I don't care if you're a rookie or a 13-year vet. The best situation for a player is to play free and to play fast. So make it easy and make it a one and go, right? And that's what it seems like Minter is doing with this defense. And I like it. Again, it's only training camp. We haven't even seen a real game yet, and we'll hopefully see that this upcoming week. But you want to have them playing downhill, as you would say, right? So right now, that's what it looks like. Again, there's been no tackling really, so we don't know what it looks like on that end. But just coverage-wise and speed-wise, looking pretty good out there in shells and pads. So far, so good on that front. Offensively, I want to go to offense for a few minutes and discuss this. I've been reading ESPN and some other places. They keep saying how this offense is going to be a heavy, heavy run team, and they're not seeing Herbert doing anything special that way. The receivers are flat, and they're some of the worst offensive skill position players that we have on this team. And in certain cases, you'll see that the offense is the Chargers offense is deemed to be really pathetic and really bad. Look, I'm going to tell you I disagree with this. And I also disagree with the fact that they're going to make this into a complete running team or a very heavy dominated running team. I don't think that's going to be the case. And let me tell you what I think was happening with this team. Look, Harbaugh came here for a reason, right? He came, one of the biggest reasons, and not the only reason, but one of the biggest reasons was Justin Herbert, right? He wanted to have a legit guy as a quarterback. So if you're coming into a team, they're going to make very heavy run. Are you really going to care about what quarterback you have back there? Not necessarily. You always want a good quarterback, absolutely. But you can have a manager back there, right? You can have just a guy that plays well, above average quarterback. That's fine. Herbert is not that guy. Herbert is elite. And yeah, has he had a couple of subpar years? Absolutely. Last few years has subpar years, right? Absolutely. Injury induced, play calling induced. Those are all part of injuries, not only for himself, but people around him, right? That when you don't have receivers to throw to and you go on your third, fourth, and fifth receiver, that's an issue as your starters, right? That's an issue. When you're beat up and you've got rib cartilage issues and you've got finger issues and what have you. And I hate to be this excuse waving type of flag going on, but that's the reality of it, right? And that's the reality of football. When you're lucky and you can manage injuries and you can play through it, that's great because everyone's banged up. But when you have injuries that will stop you from performing at a certain level, that's got to be significant. That's got to be talked about. So we can't just ignore those and say, okay, you just sucked this year. That's not the case. There's something going on, right? Combination of play calling, bad play calling, bad O-line at times. We've had the bad O-line happening the last couple of years, unfortunately. They come off so strong in training camp, and we think we have it solved, and then we get that O-line hurt. So let's start at the O-line position. Let's talk about what's happening right now. Because, look, last year, when go back and check out the podcast, I was excited about this O-line, right? I thought that was going to be one of the strengths on this team, and it became a problem again, right? It became a problem once again. So this year I'm going to talk about it, and I'm looking at it with, I guess, my rosy glasses here because I like what I'm seeing, especially when you have 3 first-rounders dedicated to this team. And I'm talking about Rashawn Slater at your left tackle spot. I'm talking about Zion Johnson at your left guard spot, which has been, I thought, at least for last year, not performing very well. And you have to really bring up his game. He had a lot of whiffs going on and was not dominating at all. So Zion Johnson's game has to be improved. Comes into training camp at much better shape physically, and he looks fantastic. So let's see what that's going to progress with. But that's got to be a staple. He's a first rounder. He's got to solidify that area. Rashawn Slater, right? The kid's a stud. Had some injury issues going on. So hopefully this year he's ready to go with this, and he's going to perform well. On the other side, for my our last first round pick, is of course Joel, right? Alt got in here, this first rounder this year, obviously very exciting. The man is a monster at 6'7" or 6'8", right? The guy is a monster, and 300 plus pounds. He should be a dominator. Watched him during camp. And obviously he had some misses, right? He's got some edge rushers coming at him like Bosa and Mack and so forth. He's going to have some misses on there, right? And it looked like he had a couple misses here and there. So look, it's a work in progress, especially he's playing the right side, which he was primarily a left tackle at Notre Dame. So you're also switching this kid out to the right tackle spot. So again, this is something to look at. And I'm pretty sure they're going to play him in the preseason. And they're going to have to play him in the preseason. He's got to take good-looking bullets coming at him in the preseason, right? And hopefully he plays, the first few games with the Seahawks and Rams. We got some starters out there on both sides, hopefully, at least for a few series, or at least a series or two, so they can see some live action and how Alt's going to handle that. So I'm excited to see how Alt's going to do. But that's 3 first-rounders on your front line, and that's significant. And they got to play up the bar. Pipkins, our tackle the last couple of years, has now moved and shifted, as you know, to right guard. I like it. big body that can move. And I think by having him inside, again, shoulder to shoulder with a center and tackle, I think he'll actually play even better. And I'm hoping to see that transition. So I'm trying to see how that's going to transform for him. So I'm excited about Pipkins. Just a big, big man that can play. So let's see how that goes. Bozeman's your brand new person on the offense this year as a free agent. And, coming in from the Panthers. So decent grading from last year. Is it great? Absolutely not. Could be better? For sure it can, right? So he's got one of the lower grades on the offense. Again, Zion, going back to PFF grades from last year, Zion Johnson at 57.6, which was slightly lower. Trey Pipkins Jr. at 62.8. The highest settings were, of course, Rashawn Slater at 76.6. So that was your stud on that side of it. So we're hoping to get these grades up a little bit this year, and this becomes a central focus because, look, Harbaugh, and as you've read and heard and seen, it's all about having that O-line, right? That he wants that strength of that team to be that O-line and D-line, that to create that toughness and to create that ball control. So going back to that offensively in regards to ball control, how we were discussing earlier that it might not be a completely heavy run game. Let's look at it this way, okay? First of all, I think depending upon who you're playing, your offense is going to have to morph a little bit. We've seen that clearly with the Tom Brady-led New England Patriots back in the day, right? You would expect a certain something from Brady against a team. I've seen one where they ran the ball 19 or 20 times, or they passed the ball 19 or 20 times. So it just depends who they were playing, and they brought out something kind of different each time. So they can kill you with the pass or the run, and that's what they did effectively. And look at the Niners now. The San Francisco 49ers can do that. They have effective weapons with an effective quarterback, and they can hurt you both ways, right? And that's what I think a strong offense and a good coach is going to do. You cannot be predictable. You can't say, hey, we're going to run the ball all over you, try and come here and stop us. Because guess what? You might win 4, 5, 7, or 8 games with that. But eventually, people are going to know what you do, and they will set up to stop you. And they will have the personnel. Some teams cannot stop you because they don't have that quality personnel. But eventually, and when I say eventually, I'm talking January and February, you're going to have that quality personnel that's watched and seen and analyzed 17 of your games or 19 of your games so far, and they're going to be ready to take you down because they know how to stop you, right? But if you bring in a well-constructed offense that can exploit weaknesses on a defense they're playing, because no matter what, however strong your defense is, there's going to be a weakness somewhere. Okay, just like our defense will have it for the Chargers. There's going to be weaknesses somewhere, and that's what you have to attack. And once you attack that weakness, and they have to change, the defense has to change to cover that void, then everything else can be opened up as well. So that's what I'm looking at. So in long form, what I'm explaining is, hey, I think it's going to be a well-balanced attack. Am I seeing Herbert throwing 40 to 50 times a game? No, and I prefer not to. So he might not be your fantasy choice this year, but this is what you're looking at. You're looking at 18 to 24 times a game. Lowest is 15 for pass attempts, maybe highest 25 or 27. And you're seeing a good number of runs. You're going to see 30 plus runs, maybe 40 runs, right? That's what they want to do. So that's already going to give you what? 35 runs plus 20 passes. That's already 55 plays overall. So in that aspect, if you're looking at it, is it considered a heavy run game? Maybe for some people that might consider that. What am I looking at that? I'm saying that's a strong, balanced game where your quarterback is not back there throwing all the time, or at least 2/3 of the time, right? He's giving you good play. And look, and Herbert can also run, right? So even some of those plays where he's passing, that can be run plays, designated run plays, or he's going to do it at will, improv, depending on what he's got going on. A la Patrick Mahomes, right? Especially in the latter part of the game, right? The openings will happen, and you got to take that. And Herbert, fortunately, has that in his game. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm not looking at a situation where I think there's going to be a heavy run team with Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins. It's going to be, I think I'm hoping there's going to be a strong, balanced attack, and that's what I'm saying on the offensive side of it. But we'll talk offense later on. I want to hit some defense here before we get going. One of the bigger impact, I think, defenders that came in this year that we're not talking too much about is Bud Dupree. And I like Bud Dupree a lot. a KG veteran, 6'4", 270 with 4.56 speed. He might have lost a little bit of the step here and there. Strong PFF grades last year. Had a 65% run defense grade, which is strong, and a pass rush grade of 51.3. So I like what he's got going on. He played a lot last year as well. He had 722 snaps in 2023. That's very, very good. Look, he's not going to need all that this year, right? Hopefully, because you have Bosa and you have Khalil Mack and you have Tuli Tuipulotu. So this is what you're looking at with these guys. You've got a strong 3 in front of you as well. So Bud Dupree makes up that 4, which is fantastic. And that's going to be, I think that's going to be the strength set. And Minter is explaining that as well to DC. Minter is explaining how they know that this is the studs of their defense, right? Not including Derwin James, right? This is the stud of the defense, or studs of the defense, right? On that side, all that pass rush. Now let's include Derwin James in here, right? Because he can still come in and he can provide an additional pass rush skill and a linebacking skill and a safety skill and a corner skill if he wants to. So pretty fantastic, guys. This is what you have your studs going with. So I think that's going to be really integral this year. I think that the keeping or staying healthy with Bosa, and speaking of that, he came out yesterday on Sunday against the Rams scrimmage, or joint practice, I should say, with a injured either hand or a wrist. Didn't come back out, so I'm not sure what the status is as of Monday the 5th, but that bears to be watching as well. Look, if he's going to get banged up, it's going to happen, right? Hopefully it's early in the season, and whatever the situation is, if it's a 4 to 5 week injury, you're back at week 1 or week 2. Again, I'm not trying to go drastic right now and say it was a major injury, but again, he was banged up yesterday. Hopefully everything is good. Again, we've had those injury issues with Bosa, man. It's the last couple of years have been pretty frustrating. So unfortunately, it's something we have to take a look at and see what's happening. Khalil Mack, pretty quiet at camp right now. Didn't see a lot of fantastic stuff yet, but the pads haven't really come on that way where you're hitting. So his best play is going to be during live action. So I'm excited about that. Don't forget, Khalil Mack last year, 91.8 PFF score. Man had one of the best years of his career. Fantastic. So really glad they were able to re-up and take care of that contractual situation with Mack and Bosa. So Tuipulotu, a 71.0 score last year on PFF. I saw him live this year. I tell you, he looks way bigger than last year to me. He looks way bigger than last year. I'm excited to see what he does as a second-year player. I think he's going to do some really good work out there. I like the way Minter is thinking about using all 3 at the same time. I love that. But Dupree, like I said, that's going to be a fantastic fearsome foursome coming at you. So that's going to be fun. That's going to be fun to watch. Now, looking at the interior line, that's going to be a situation with, I think they're going to work with Morgan Fox on this one. Morgan Fox, as one of the interior linemen, had a great year last year, I thought. And he was re-signed. And he's still playing strong. And I think he's going to do a good job there. He's got a strong base to him. He's quick. He's fast. And for his size, I think he holds it up really, really well. So last year, Morgan Fox had a 58.0 grade. Do I want to see that better? Absolutely we do. But as a very functioning, strong player. So I like Morgan. Like I said, last year he had a 58.0 grade. Run defense was 43.1, which definitely needs to get improved on that. And I think that's going to happen with more linebacker play. And his pass rush grade was at 64. So Morgan Fox, 6'3", 275. Looking forward to seeing how he's going to project here. And I think he's going to be one of the starters. The other starter inside is Poona Ford, which they grabbed from the Buffalo Bills as a free agent this year. He comes into the Chargers with a 59.3 defensive grade from PFF last year. Run defense, again, low at 47, but the pass rush grade really strong at 71.5. He only had about 151 snaps last year, so limited in snaps. So I think the way the Chargers play it is, these guys are going to get a lot of fresh bodies coming through in the middle. So for those 2 spots, so I think you'll see a lot of guys working through on that one as well. A lot of good defenders on that side of the ball. In regards to our defensive backs, look, we talked about it. Derwin James, fantastic, right? I thought he had a subpar year last year. Reading about it, listening to it, it sounds like he was placed in a lot of different positions, and versatility is great, but sometimes with versatility comes lack of speciality. And that could be a problem at times, right? You want to have your versatile players doing their thing, but you don't want to overwhelm either. And maybe that was one of the cases, or even to get tired doing way too much. So at that point, let's see how Minter uses Derwin. I know he's got so much skill set to use, but let's be smart with him and play in the right way. You're not exhausting the guy because of so much demand on him. Lowy Kilman comes in with a brand new contract. Had a great grade last year, 86.1. He is one guy that's not talked about as much. And I tell you, man, he is just a fun player to watch because he is active. He is active. He's always by the ball. He creates turnovers, and he's always giving you that problem if you're an offensive player. So I love the fact they have a Lowy going on there. The corners, it looks like they've settled on it. Looks like Fulton is going to be your starter on the right side. Christian Fulton comes in from the Tennessee Titans, and he has really solidified that spot right now because that was up for grabs, right? The corner spots were up for grabs supposedly. He's come in and he's taken it. Okay, and he's some nice turnovers he's shown. Again, I guess the Rams game, or I should say the Rams practice scrimmage, he had some nice picks. I think he had 2 picks during that one. Just really, really strong. He had over almost 590 snaps last year on the wide side as a corner. So really plays well. And I think the injuries have hurt him in the past, so they're hoping to get that 1 year from him. And hey, if things work out and that's the guy, they're gonna invest in that. He's a young player, right? It's his only 4 years in. So Christian Fulton will take that one spot. Of course, Asante Samuel, 73.9 rating from PFF last year. Fantastic play. The guy covers, right? He does really well. The only drawback with Asante is that they run on him on the outside, and he has a problem with tackling at times. And that's been one of his issues. Smaller body frame guy. So has he had problems back there? He has. So that's something he's got to improve because he's a magnificent cover corner. So that's your corners on the outsides, and you got your safeties going on. Our linebackers inside so far, it's Dion Henley. Last year's rookie comes in, and our Denzel Perriman comes back. And they've taken the middle sides. Those 2 linebackers will service it as the starters. I like what I'm seeing there. Looks strong at the linebacker position. Nick Niemann, of course, comes in and provides depth in that spot, which is fantastic. And I thought Niemann had a really good role last year. He's only going to get better with his play. Other linebackers in play on that one, besides Dion Henley and Perriman right now for starters, of course, Junior Collison, the rookie this year that's come in. And look, he's been injured. He has appendicitis, or he had the appendicitis injury, right? So right now, that's something they're looking at. And of course, they've got him in uniform. They got him working out in practice, but nothing where 11-on-11 or 7-on-7s, nothing like that yet. So that's something they got to work on and hopefully get him in play, because once he does, the whole thing was, hey, watch out, because Carlson is going to get the starting nod because of this familiarity with Minter's defense and how fast he can transition into there based on his Michigan days with them. So great to see that. Great to see what's going on that end of it. So look, good quality defense is what we're looking at right now. Again, too early to tell, but I love what the news is and what we're seeing so far out of camp. Just keep those injuries down. Let these guys keep playing and let them get stronger. We're only going to be a few more days until our first game against the Seahawks. We'll hopefully get to see our seconds and thirds and see how they're performing. I don't see we're seeing too much with starters, if any at all. So we'll gather that, see what's happening on. And look, we'll catch you back next week. I'm going to go ahead and make sure we debrief the Seahawks game. We'll get back into the offensive side of it and kind of do a breakdown on the offense like we did today on defense and see where we're heading out. Appreciate you guys joining us as usual. Don't forget to hit us up at Extreme Voltage Podcast on Instagram. I'd like to thank Kevin McLeod for Strengthening Titans and the Ice Giants. Catch him at filmmusic.io. We'll catch you next time. Bolt up.